Hi guys, how you guys going? I just thought that I would go over the notification for your upcoming Gallipoli assessment. Sorry I haven't been here for a little while, but hopefully I'll get to see you guys pretty soon. So this is what we call a source and own knowledge test. Okay, hopefully you know that it is 20 minutes long. Okay, so not too intimidating for you, and it's out of 10. Okay. Now these are the key areas to study right here. So the reasons for the Gallipoli campaign, the strategic approach used during preparation for the campaign, and the Gallipoli landing. So hopefully you should have covered all of these in your in your class while I've been away. And I'll give you some reading and also a little bit of worksheet to help you kind of fill that out, just to kind of get the information kind of down and kind of compact. Okay, and this here is what we call this is the structure of the task. Okay, so what you'll get here, okay, you'll get a question sheet and also a source, like two sources, and what they tend to be is normally a primary and a secondary source. Okay, here you can have like a diary entry and so forth, and something from a textbook, something like that, but not necessarily so. But it normally has not two written sources. Normally it'll give you like a photo or like a picture, something like that, plus also a written source to kind of help you out. Okay, and then obviously you need to include your own knowledge, and this is what really you'll get on your answer sheet. Okay, using sources A and B and your own knowledge, discuss the reasons that explain why the Gallipoli campaign was the fate of the Anzacs. Okay, and hopefully, you know, for last year that's what they studied for this test, and they'll give you some kind of sources to do with that. So again, here these are the areas to study. Okay, and you'll get some sources that are relating to both of these. Okay, on the second page of your notification, you can actually see the specific structures broken down for like how we want you to kind of aim for those kind of like total marks here. Okay, so two sources plus your own knowledge, and here you have the 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of ways to get to those higher marks. Okay, and you can see here 2 references from the first source, 2 marks, 2 references from the other source, 2 marks, and 6 extra pieces of your own knowledge, 6 marks. So you know, if you aim for like 3 pieces of your own knowledge from the first source, 3 pieces of your own knowledge from the second source, okay, that is your top 10. Okay, and then the last one really is an integrated response that mixes the source with the writer to the discussion using your own knowledge, which basically means that when you can see down here in this kind of like example that Mr. Scalia has put together. This is from the Holocaust section from last year, which you'll do in term 3. But don't worry too much about the content here, but more about like physically how it's structured, because you can see down here they use source A, and they really kind of make sure that source A is quite underlined, like if you can do it in brackets or even underline it, just so that Marcus knows like where you are actually using the source A. So here 1, 2, okay, and then the own knowledge, which is this part here, is really integrated into this. Okay, and the same thing down here, source B, we've got a source here 1, and then down here 2. I would actually maybe even put source B down here somewhere. Okay, also asked in source B, okay, you know, something like that. So to really kind of make sure that you've got those 2 pieces of source knowledge, and then obviously in here they've got the integrated responses with their own knowledge. Okay, so it's not just like source A, okay, 2 pieces from that, source B, 2 pieces from that, and then a whole another section just on your own knowledge. Okay, this is kind of integrated, and that's where you really get to those kind of 9 and 10 kind of marks for yourself. Okay. Is your what I will send you. Okay, so this on the left hand side is your textbook reading. This is from the Chat Plus that we've been using on here, and this on the other side is your like worksheet that I will send you as well. There are a few slight differences, which I'll explain to you a bit later on. But I've also included here the key areas to study from your notification. Okay, the reasons for the Gallipoli campaign, strategic approach used during preparation for the campaign, and the Gallipoli landing. Okay, and if you can have a look down here, the British plan to break the stalemate, and here it just kind of tells you a little bit about what Winston Churchill had as an idea to kind of break the stalemate. Okay, so you had this war that was going on in the Western Front. Okay, and they tried, this is to kind of relieve the pressure on their forces there. Okay, so this is why they went into the Middle East, and this here it kind of just in the dot points kind of tells you, okay, to force Turkey out of the war. Okay, which they actually had I guess allied themselves with Germany and Austro-Hungary in 1915, and they want to reopen the supply route in Russia, and I'll show you a little bit in the next slide that why this will be beneficial for Britain and its allies. Okay, open up a new front from which to attack Germany, other main ally in Austro-Hungary, and I'll show you that in the map a bit later on, and move on to defeat Germany on the Western Front. Okay, and these ones here you'll need to kind of put over in your goals section right here using your own words, and also some more further wider reading to kind of add to that detail that you will need in your source assessment. Okay, see on the left hand side on this textbook here, you can actually see, and this is like part of the strategic approach used during preparation for the campaign. This is the plan, pretty much. Okay, there's I would say two sections of the plan: the goals of the naval route, okay, and also the infantry route, which is what the Anzacs like job was. Okay, but you can see through here they wanted to send their ships, control this area, this is the Dardanelles here, all the way up through here, take out Constantinople or Istanbul as we now know it. Okay, take charge of this route, okay, so they can send supplies up to Russia, their ally, okay, so to help them fight Austro-Hungary and Germany up there, but also to actually land troops, take control of this area, not Turkey out of the war, and then also maybe with their help from Greece and Serbia up here to start to make another front, so then that could actually force Austro-Hungary to kind of moving their areas and help Russia out, okay, like here. So that's really kind of like what the plan was to do, okay, but first, and I'll show you actually in the next section. So in this part here, I would actually look at the goals of the naval route over here, okay, and in the next section I'll tell you what the infantry goals were. And now, what you can see here, this is even a closer map of Gallipoli and the Dardanelles, etc. Okay, and this here is where their shipping route, that's where they wanted to take themselves. Okay, and if you kind of can study this map here, you can actually have a look. Okay, there's their kind of like the Turkish kind of military positions. You can see here how tough it would be to send your ships, and they did try to do that back in February and March with the mines. Like this whole kind of area was mined, as well as with these kind of like armaments that they actually failed to start with. Okay, and as you can see here is the close-up picture of the Dardanelles and where the Anzac landed here in Anzac Cove, and you can actually see here what they did trying to do as far as their infantry went. Okay, so you can see here their first day objective, just reading the key, you can see what they tried to do was on the first day was to get up around here, overwhelm the Turkish forces. So not only did they try and stop any kind of Turkish forces from coming from further north, but they also were able to any kind of escaping Turkish forces that were able to kind of like fight here and there. And you can see here, you've got down here is the British landing down here at Cape Helles, and they kind of like a pincer movement. Anzacs will come down from here, the British would come up in here with the French and try and take out all these kind of plateaus, and then there it should have kind of stopped or made it more safe for their naval force to kind of come in through there. And then as if we go back into reading the key again, you can actually see what actually happened. Okay, you can see here, this is what their first day goal was up here. Okay, but first day actual, this small section here is where they actually got up to on that first day. Okay, and then over the battles, over the first few months or so, you can actually see Turkish lines in August, Allied lines in August, and this is pretty much where they stay for the entire time until they leave back in December. Okay, and down here, this is the British and French forces, and this is where they got stopped. Okay, so the Turkish kind of had control of all this area. Okay, and this here is the last section here. In the actual worksheet that I'll send to you, it says something like the campaign. Okay, but because of the what your assessment is, it's not actually going over the campaign, so we won't look at the battles of like the Neck and Lone Pine, more the landing. So that's why I've just kind of said there, so you can actually just kind of like do it yourself. Okay, and you can have a look through here, this here for this last section, which kind of tells you about kind of the landing, and look at like the objectives, looking at how many casualties and so forth, look at some of the battles that they actually face, like, and these here are the real kind of detail that you can actually use in your assessment for your own knowledge. Okay, and so now hopefully you should have a little bit more of a clearer overview of what is expected of you as far as the content and so forth goes. What I will do, I'll make another little video on what was the source assessment for last year, and kind of like visually how it looks and how to kind of attack it. But I'll do that in something in a separate one as well. Any other questions, please email me. And I hope you're all doing really well, Simon, and I hope you really enjoy Canberra. So this is a fun trip. Okay, thank you.